All right, man. We got three topics to get through today. We're going to try to do not like a quick fire round, but obviously, if it's three topics, we're not going to dwell. I don't think any one of them's enough for a whole show. So we're going to touch on three
Yeah.
different ones.
Yeah, man. Some quick hitters. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't know why this popped in my head. This is so unrelated to anything that we're going to talk about. What do you
Perfect.
what do you have? I assume that you've got a grill out there in Tennessee. Do you have
Mm.
like the old school propane? Do you have a Traeger? Do you have one of those big green eggs? Do you have the Blackstone? What do you got?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Pat. I actually have two options here at the house. I have oh man, I can't remember the brand now, but it's basically a Traeger style pellet grill that is great. Don't use it too often these days, actually. It's been pretty hot in the summer, but that thing's pretty great. Bill Henniger gives me endless shit about it when I hear him, excuse my language. He calls it the easy bake oven of smoked meats, but I'll take that. My retort back is, hey
He's
man,
all about the big green egg, isn't he?
yeah, and he's got spreadsheets and the whole thing. I mean, he's very minded. But I will never feel bad about turning a knob and coming back to smoked meat. So
That's
no
what's the other
problem
one you
there.
have? Is it also a pellet thing?
Out at the property, I have a big Blackstone propane deal,
Okay,
and that
yeah,
thing is, I love it. It's so easy. You can cook anything on it, and it's just one big griddle top, easy to clean, easy to maintain. I sound like I
Yes.
am sponsored by them or something, but
Well,
it's for out there, it's awesome because we can hey, invite a couple people over, bring whatever you want, grill it all up, super quick,
hmm
super easy.
this was on my
Almost no
mind because I
fuss.
just
Yeah.
just before we clicked on, I grilled up. I feel like I'm constantly grilling chicken for the week for like
Yeah,
meal prep. Constantly for a family of five, it goes
sure.
so fast. Um, the amount of chickens massacred by the Sherwood family must be, on a global scale. But I just finished. But I've got one of those. It's not a Blackstone, but it's one of those griddle things
Yeah.
now, and I just got it a couple of months ago. But previous to that, I had a Traeger, and this is going to sound like blasphemy to so many people. I had it for about a year, liked it, actually got rid of it
Mm,
because at least here, like when it was cold outside in the winter, I'd still go grilling. I couldn't get it up to temperature. Like it just took
sure.
forever. I don't have the time or patience for like the big green egg thing. I just want to click something on. I want the heat to come on. I want to walk away. Like you said, I got kids going crazy in the house.
You don't need a hobby
Dude, I don't need a
smoking your
hobby. I
meat.
need to grill
Yeah,
some food.
yeah.
And then
Some people do, and that's cool.
and
But
then I went back to like the regular old school like propane grill, like regular grill after the
yeah,
Traeger, which people probably like, I can't believe you took a regression. And then I had that for a bit and something went wrong with it. So I got this one I've had for a couple months. Man, it's a game changer. Two thumbs up.
yeah.
We gotta get a grill
Have you
sponsor for the
you
program
done
here.
you done breakfast on it yet? Breakfast is key.
I made the kids breakfast on it. The
So
only thing I
good.
haven't tried, which I can't think of anything which wouldn't work well compared to just a grill, other than it used to be easy on a regular grill. If you do like corn on the cob, you just put it in the grill. Like I don't know if can you put corn on the cob right on the Blackstone, or
I
will
mean,
it
why
burn
not?
it? I don't know if it would
You just
burn it.
gotta check your temperature, but a little char never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But I'll
Okay.
tell you, Pat, what we've done for 2 years now. This will be the third year coming up when we do it. Is annual New Year's Day breakfast and campfire out there. And I'll fire up the
Mm,
Blackstone. People bring what they want. I'll just cook like 2 dozen eggs and come as you are. Come get some
man,
fried eggs and bacon and
you know,
hang out by the campfire.
This
It's a
will
great time.
probably this will probably be the most popular part of the show, and probably get more comments of people talking about grilling.
Yeah.
If you need just a calorically dense breakfast, you're not looking to maybe extend your longevity. This is what I'll do every now and then. My kids love bacon, obviously, and so I'll make a bunch of bacon out there because it's so easy to do. But then you've got all this just hot bacon grease that I'll crack my eggs and
Oh
vegetables
yeah.
for like this big omelet and like sizzle it up in the bacon grease, man. That omelet is, I mean, it is a
Yeah.
gift from above. It is so
Why
good.
why would you waste that?
Oh,
That's
man.
yes.
And then you just, like the cleanup, you just shove it all into like that little grate on the
Easy.
side and it just goes away.
Yep.
Best thing in the world. Okay, all right, let's let's get to the show today. Before we do that, post your thoughts and comments on grills. We appreciate your viewership, everybody, your support of the show. Where else can you get content like this? Go to varied.random.com, check out the cycles that we offer. They'll make you into just a Tyrannosaurus Rex of fitness.
Hmm.
Go ahead, and if you're a gym owner, you've got to handle workout tracking, gym management, and billing. Well, BTWB has an all-in-one solution for that. So if you are a gym owner, you want to have the all-in-one, go to btwb.com and just, 10x your life. Okay, so here we go. I've got a few things that I gathered from various places. And, we were going to do a short show today, and then I talked about grills for 10 minutes, so I kind of just, I cannonball that. Here we go. This is from Chris, who's coming from Glasgow, Scotland. Okay, hi guys. Pardon me. I'm relatively new to CrossFit and wondered what your thoughts would be on my situation. I do the 6 a.m. workout most days, but I'm not particularly strong or flexible, and I want to do some stuff at my home gym to complement my development. So, what would you suggest? I was thinking either of strength stuff or some mobility, flexibility, accessories sort of stuff. Anyway, I love the show. Enjoy your personalities, can relate to your stories. I'm 42 and I've experienced a lot of the same life stuff. Thanks for taking the time, Chris. So, 6 a.m.er, new to CrossFit, doesn't consider himself strong or flexible, wants to add some stuff in at home. What to do? What's a good use of his time?
I want to know first what the other attributes are looking for. Are we talking about he's stepping in, he's new, and he's identified that these are way lagging behind? Or is it just, hey, I'm new and I'm relatively unconditioned and, unfit? Because if that's the case, hey, man, just be patient and keep fighting the good fight. I don't
He
think
says he's
that-
new to CrossFit, so he probably doesn't have a
Exactly.
lot of reps under the belt.
Yep. So to me, I would be really wary, especially if you're disciplined and you're going in 6 a.m. on the regular, like it sounds like that's the case. I would be real wary about feeling the need to start adding a bunch of stuff on top. That said, if it's low impact and it truly is like, yeah, I'm just going to do some stretching before bed, or yeah, I'm going to roll out a little bit on my sore muscles. Hey, fine, no harm, no foul. But I've seen it too many times where that starts adding up into more and more and more. And next thing you know,
It's a slippery
it's just
slope.
this volume trap. So my advice, number one, if it's not obvious that these are just like completely disparate in terms of their development, just keep going. If it is like, man, these are a huge hole and they're obviously way behind all of my other physical attributes, okay, maybe a little bit of extra work is fine. Keep it mellow and make it feel like at the end of any of these auxiliary sessions, you're not even tired. Make it just a little touch, just a little taste. And that way it ensures that you're sticking with the program and not putting yourself out there too much into this like never ending need to do more and more and more and more. Because that's the trap. Yeah.
Yeah, fair advice. I would say to Chris, you say you do the 6 a.m. workout most days. I don't know if most days just means when you happen to go, it's 6 a.m., or does most days meaning most days of the week and you're in there 5 days a week? If you're in there 5 days a week and you trust that the gym you've associated yourself with knows what they're doing, then like you said, trust the process, give it 6 months, and you'll probably be good to go. Some things take time, be patient. If you're going in, most days, meaning it's just when you get in there, but you get in 2 to 3 times a week and you're looking to supplement a little bit at home, that would be fair. If you know what you're doing, maybe you talk to the coach, hey, I'm going to come in these 2 or 3 days, I'm going to miss these couple of days, I'm motivated, I could do something at home. Maybe you could replicate from their website what they happen to be doing. If you've got a set of dumbbells or a barbell, a pull-up bar, and that you're keeping on the course and the trajectory that they created. So that wouldn't be outrageous as long as your body can tolerate it, and you're new to this and it's not too much too soon. Other than that, again, depending on what your body can tolerate, if you just felt froggy, you like to do something, you like to move, you could just go out for like an easy run or something like that and, put in a podcast, something that's not going to beat you up, but you get huffing and puffing for 40 minutes. Like, I probably wouldn't have any drama with that as long as with the caveat it doesn't negatively affect, however you want to say it, overtrain, under recover, negatively affect what you're doing in the gym. Other than that, as somebody who's also in the I'm tight as a drum, head to shoulders, a head to toe club, maybe like yourself, Chris, you say that you're tight. I wouldn't have any drama with you doing something in the garage, in the yard that gets you warm, like a nice, move your joints through a full range of motion, get the heart rate up, get things primed, and then just do a good stretch session. Like, I wouldn't have, and that would probably, for somebody in their 40s, be a really good use of your time. And that wouldn't negatively affect anything that you got going on in the gym. You could do that to your heart. You could do that every day if you want. You could do that to your heart's content, and it would only be beneficial. And then the other thing that I would say, Chris, my friend, um, just make sure that to the best of your ability, if you do want to propel yourself forward, everything else that you can control, you're dialing into the best of your ability. Sleep is basically legal steroids, so get as much sleep as you can. What you do in the kitchen, you're in your 40s, my friend, is going to have a significant impact on your ability to train, recover, build strength, feel good. You may or may not be able to control other life stresses as well, but sleep and nutrition would be a big one. So those would be my things for Chris.
Yeah, agreed. I don't have much more to say on that one.
I mean, we couldn't have set Chris up more for success. He's good to go.
Mm.
Chris, check back in a year and tell us how you're crushing it. All right, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
This next one, let's see. I like this next one because I also think they give you quote for a Tommy Hackenbrook quote. They give you credit for a Tommy Hackenbrook quote, which is great.
We get mistaken.
You
for
get
one
confused
another
a lot, don't
pretty
you?
Regularly, you know, just generally rugged.
This is from Samuel K. He says, "Hey gents, my name is Sam, longtime listener, huge fan of the podcast. Love everything you guys have to say and the wisdom you two impart." Wisdom is a very kind word to say, Samuel, but we'll take it. A bit of some background. I'm in the Army and currently stationed at Fort Benning for the Infantry Basic Officer Leadership course with a class of my peers, a bunch of fellow second lieutenants. Fort Benning. I'll tell you a funny story about Fort Benning when we're off air. My question. So many of my classmates are obsessed with their gadgets. This is a Boz question all over it. Obsessed with their gadgets like Garmin watches, Strava logs, and heart rate monitors. Does knowing your quote-unquote stats, like your heart rate, VO2 max, etc., even matter? Is investing in something like a heart rate monitor or other gadget worth it? For context, I've been in the CrossFit Olympic weightlifting world for about 9.5 years. I've never found a need for fancy gadgets, and I've seen my fitness still improve steadily through the years. Various opens, quarterfinals, Army PT tests, and just like Adrian says, you don't need a harder workout. You need to go harder in your workout.
There it is. Yep. Hey, I mean, it's Chris was the name of this guy.
Sam.
I'm sorry. Chris was the first guy.
One, yep.
Yeah, Sam, dude, it sounds like you have the answer to your own question
100%.
right there. If you are seeing progress, and this is true, I mean, insert whatever trend here, and the answer still applies. If you're seeing progress, you're happy with the trajectory that you're on, and the question is, do I need XYZ thing? It's like, well, clearly you do not, because you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're making progress. You're happy with that progress. It's sustainable. It's observed over a long period of time now. 9 years is nothing to shake a stick at. So at that point, I think you can answer your own question on this. And it sounds like it's probably not for you. Some people really love that stuff. And honestly, I think the greatest utility beyond the quote unquote data, I use that word very loosely because I think most of it is just numbers that appear on a screen that make people think that they're more informed than they might be. And now I'm losing my thought. But the point is that it can keep you motivated if you're the certain type of person who likes that kind of gear, and it keeps your head in the game. I know that there are certain people that that's a big part of who they are and what they like to kind of dwell on. Fine, man. If that's what gets you interested in sticking with your program, and that's the thing that you kind of you really want to figure out, what was it today versus yesterday versus last week? And that's something that genuinely aids your training in that regard, meaning motivation-wise, interest, etc., then hey, go for it. But is it going to be the thing that moves the needle for you to continue getting better? Well, clearly not. I mean, you've got an obvious example in Sam writing in right there where it's like, yep, not necessary at all. And yet here we are still making progress. So if it's not of interest to you, I would say, hey, don't worry about it.
I'll try my best not to rehash anything that you just said, since that wouldn't be useful.
Yeah,
but
it's not fair because I went first too. So.
No. My 2 cents is, no, you don't need them. I mean, I think two things can exist at the same time, right? Is knowing some of that data interesting or potentially useful to spot? Sure. Do you need it to get fitter? Absolutely not. I think those two things coexist at the same time. And I had something else in my head that was just going to was just in there and it just disappeared. But no, since my answer is no, I'll just leave it at that. No, you don't need that. And oh, I was going to say, truth be told, before, most people, let's be honest, most of us are regular human beings. We're not this like tower of discipline and unwavering perfection that executes everything, exactly as it should be. Sleep's always on point, diet's great. Like most of us need, as I said before, maybe with the first gentleman's question, most of us, if you're going to spend a few $100s on a gadget, you'd probably be better off, I don't know, either upgrading your bed or buying higher quality food at the grocery store, in all
Sure.
honesty, if you
Yeah.
really want to have the most significant impact to your life. Most of us are a damn mess in one way, shape, or form. It's like, yeah, I got this gadget, got this whiz bang, got all my compression gear on. Now, yes, last night I had 2 pizzas and 6 beers. I know that. But look at all my cool, like most of
Yeah.
us have so many other places in our life to make
Yep.
huge, substantial progress that have nothing to do with you ordering something off Amazon. I would give the overwhelming lion's share of my focus and resources to those lifestyle factors, to discipline, to staying on schedule, to being consistent with your training, to applying intensity, to listen to your body, to following like meaningful programming. Like I think that's going to do
Yeah.
so much more for you. That's my rant.
Hey, man, I'll give you another take on that. And I completely agree that allocating that resource of money into something else is probably a better investment in your fitness. I'll give you a real world example. And I've brought this up before. At my feet right now is a kettlebell that I purchased in 2001, I think. And I don't remember what I paid for it. It doesn't matter at this point. But I bet you it was a lot less than whatever fancy schmancy watch is out there. And I bet you that the return of fitness that I've gotten over the years by having access to that thing in my backyard when I couldn't make it into the gym, or taking it with me if I go on a camping trip so I can still fit
Mm-hmm.
something in, I bet you that's moving the needle a lot more than me knowing my heart rate on every single session that I've done. So I think that's another great thing that people should be encouraged to do is like, hey, take that money and buy a simple piece of equipment that you know you can always have on hand. Even if you're not interested in building out like a total home gym, just having something to give you the option for those times that you're in a pinch, man,
Mm-hmm.
it goes a long way. So I cannot recommend that enough as a better allocation of that money, in my opinion.
So Sam, hopefully that helps. Here's our final thing. Ah, this I don't want to lead the witness with this.
Oh, I
This.
got one more. Sorry, I got one more
Oh
thing to
yeah,
say about
yeah, yeah.
the Garmins and watches and stuff like that. I have a couple of people in my life that are relatively close to me that have experimented with these things over time. And I'll say consistently that what I've heard from each of them as an individual, but not having talked to one another, is that one of the biggest utilities for those types of things is that it can almost predict when they're about to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that I hear time and time again is like, that's weird. I'm doing everything right. And the thing's telling me my recovery is bad or like my heart rate spiked when it shouldn't have. Boom, next day they're feeling under the weather. So I've heard
Fair
that
enough.
time and time again. And so I think that's kind of interesting. And I guess that could be
Fair enough.
useful if you can start to, see that sort of thing coming and take care of yourself, but certainly not the intended purpose, I don't think.
No,
But
yeah, no,
just kind of an
fair enough.
interesting observation that I've seen over the years.
So this next one, I'm not even going to care if I lead the witness. I'm just going to tell you what's on my mind, and then you can either say it's on point and wildly off base. You
Yeah.
can rant, you can not rant, or you can just say it's dumb, and we can move on.
Yep.
This is what I texted you was, hey, the general topic is strength overrated? And then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not the best wording of it. And I said, maybe perhaps a better wording is strength over prioritized? And let me just tell you why this even popped into my head. It's because we're talking about CrossFit, not to like make an Allen Iverson thing, talking about practice. We're talking about CrossFit, right? And if you're watching the show, you're into CrossFit, you're following CrossFit discussion forums and threads online, I guess I make this general assumption that you're into CrossFit and you have a rudimentary understanding of what CrossFit is. And why this popped in my head was what I see the overwhelming majority of the time online, enough for me to say that it's, to bring up this question, is people will be looking for a new gym, a new program, a new whatever it happens to be, and it's a CrossFit gym or a CrossFit program or whatever it has, but it's CrossFit. They're not a power lifter or an Olympic lifter. And the question that they ask is, well, how strong did you get? I
Yeah.
literally never hear somebody say, oh, you go to that gym down the street. How fit did you get? Did it get you
Right.
fit? Did it
Yeah.
get you fitter?
What-
I actually never hear someone say that. They go,
What
did you get
breadth of
stronger?
abilities did you pick up? Yeah.
Right. It's like, well, this
Yeah.
this is CrossFit. The question that everybody should be asking if you're looking to go to gym A, B, C, or D is, are they developing fitness? Not are they developing just strong athletes? Now, this should not be interpreted as me diminishing how important strength is. It's mission critical, but it's just really strange to me that that's the question, and it's not, did you get fitter? It might. That's my like. That's what put it as like, is it over prioritized? Because I never hear, oh, I'm interested in that. Did you get fitter? It's like, well, how are your strength numbers?
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
No, I'm with you, man. I agree broadly. I think I'll give a little more of an obtuse answer in the sense I think it's hard to say if it's over prioritized, because I still think there are plenty of trainers out there and gyms out there that do have the appropriate spread of priority when it comes to that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think generally speaking, is it easy to kind of get seduced by strength and like overemphasizing that? Yeah, I think absolutely.
Or
But I
maybe
still-
over prioritized in people's minds, right?
Yeah,
Because I
Well-
mean, no one ever says like, what happened to your Cindy? How's Helen going?
Right.
Tell me
Sure.
about Nancy. When's the last time you did Fran? How's Elizabeth? Like, it's just, how's the squat and dead going? What's the snatch at these days? Like,
Yeah,
that
said
seems
another
to be
way,
it.
people don't freak out nearly as much if their 400-meter time drops 15 seconds, for example. But you lose 50 pounds on your deadlift, and people are like, it's a whole crisis there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is interesting why that sticks out. I'm not quite sure why that is. You can talk to some people and they'll convince you that it is the only attribute that really matters. Like there's a whole school of thought behind that, several. But you can also find that for many different attributes in other athletics. Yeah, it is kind of strange. And I think generally you got to keep coming back to the question, like, strong enough for what? Like at a certain point,
Yeah.
there's a diminishing return on adding another 10 pounds to your deadlift. But again, you talk about sustainability throughout the ages. It's like, man, you show me somebody who's into their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th decade of life, and they're still putting up, a 300-pound deadlift.
Oh.
Pretty modest by strength standards. But if they can handle that and it's not even an
100%.
issue, it's like, I feel like that person's strong enough for pretty much anything they're going to have to encounter.
And I wonder, and this is maybe my most charitable take, is I wonder if that is just some sort of default, just being lazy with language. Like, and they actually do mean, did it work? Are you happy with that gym? But instead of just saying, did you get
could be that.
fitter, they go, did you get stronger?
Sure.
And by
It's just an
stronger,
easy
they mean
metric to-
everything.
Yep.
But I don't know because,
I'll give you a more pessimistic take.
okay.
I think it's still the echoes of old bodybuilding and kind of traditional physical culture built around that. I think if you really do a deep dive on fitness trends starting at like the mid to end of the 1800s, you would see like that's where the word gymnasium comes from, right? And you would see these big open air places. They'd have rings hanging and like pommel horses that guys, it wouldn't be full gymnastics routines, but it would be like basic movement around these implements. You'd see some like relatively kind of minor creeping in of things like a dumbbell, et cetera, but they were more exotic. And it really never started moving in that direction until, like, I would say, and it's been a while since I've kind of read into this, but like the 30s through the 50s is when things really started to shift towards kind of like a bodybuilding style culture. And then that culminated in like the 60s and 70s with the Nautilus style machines. And that became like the predominant meathead kind of culture that we all know. And that took over for a long time. That's what a health club looked like for many, many years. And I still think we're dealing with the echoes of that. Like, to be fit in the layperson's mind is to look jacked and to be strong. And so I think it's kind of a remnant of that in many ways. People just don't look beyond that because they don't know to.
Yeah, yeah, I know you'd be right. I'm curious, actually, anybody watching or listening, like, I'm curious for everyone else's take on this. Is it just being lazy with language, or does that actually what most CrossFitters are only concerned with, even if it is at the expense of being more well-rounded? Like, who
Hmm.
knows? I'd be curious to hear what people say out there. It's certainly this'll chaps and behinds. It's certainly easier. Like, it hurts a whole heck of a lot less. I don't even care if you're doing like a 20 rep back squat, which I've done, and I feel like you're gonna black out, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
It doesn't hold a candle to like a track day or a miserable conditioning session, like the pain that you have to endure. I remember, to throw myself under the bus, you know, years ago I used to come up with, like, fitness goals like around January 1st, things I wanted to do for the year. I don't do that anymore. I'm just trying to survive. But there was this one point in
Same.
time where I was knocking on the door of like a 500-pound deadlift. I think I was like at
Mm,
like 475 or 480 or something. And I was texting back and forth with Spiel at the time. And I texted him like some of my goals for that year. And none of them were conditioning based. And one of them was like a
sure.
500-pound deadlift. And Chris was like, don't get me wrong, like, if your dead goes from 475 to 500, that's going to be really cool to post about on Instagram because the number sounds really cool. And he's like,
Yeah.
other than on a 7x1 day, goes, do you think that extra 25 pounds, which is what, it's a very small percentage of force. He goes, do you think you're going to notice that on anything else that you do? And I was like, I was like, thanks, Mr. Wet Blanket. I was like, no, probably not. But like, yeah, it's cool to say it. And I'm like, well, what do you think, Mr. Know-it-all? And he's like, I think you should set like a really aggressive goal for an 800-meter run. And I was like, well, that sucks. I don't want to do that.
No, thank
That
you.
sounds like it's going to be so miserable to obtain. And he's like, if you did do that and made the 800 your goal and nothing happened to your deadlift, he's like, maybe even lose 15 pounds. Do you think you would see that translate to a whole bunch of other stuff? And I was like, yes, I do. And so
Yeah.
I was quasi fired up to do that for a bit. And then I made a second error. And I was like, what do you think I should shoot for the 800? He's like, I'm not quite sure. And I was like, I know who to ask. I'm going to text Josh Everett because he's like such a track
Perfect.
guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, dude, this is a long time ago. I was like, hey, dude, you like thinking about doing this? Like, guy my age, what? I'm like, what would be a good goal for an 800? And he's like, shoot for sub 220. I was like, sub 220?
That's
What?
phenomenal. That's
What?
great.
Like, so you talk about
Yeah.
like how much more fun is it going to be and easier to try to get that dead from 475 to 500, or try to get whatever your 800 is to sub 220?
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'd much rather head out here and go lift with the boys for a bit than go to the track. So
Sure.
I don't know, that's just me randomly thinking, but all of that stuff it's true. If I
Yeah.
pursued that 800, it would have had more carryover. So anyway, I'm just curious what people's thoughts would be out there for how often the term strength gets asked about something and not did it make you fitter. So
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah. Strength's an
and
interesting
end of
one
rant.
too, because from my observation is like, man, it is so wild to see certain people excel at certain lifts. But if you were to assess them and ask, are you generally strong? The answer might be, well, I'm not really sure. Like I've seen this over and over and over again, where you have somebody like a deadlift is a great example. I found that like certain body types can have a freakish pull, but their squats terrible. Their Olympic lifts are not really turning heads.
Mm-hmm.
You ask them to pick up a sandbag and it's kind of whatever. Um, but they'll hang on that one number, and because they see that success there, they really bite onto it, and then like that becomes more of an identifier to them. Rather than actually caring about getting generally strong, they're just like, well, I'm good at this thing and I'm gravitating towards it, and therefore I'm going to wrap a ton into it. That happens all the time with people's, I guess, natural physical gifts.
Mm.
Like everybody has something that they're a little bit better at off the bat. Even if you're not like a super athlete, you're
Yep.
going to come in and there's going to be something that you're like, oh, this clicks. This clicks for me. And I think it's pretty easy to start going down that road of that thing.
Oh,
A little
sure.
more so because, it just tickles your personality that way. It's, you get a little ego stroke. And to a degree, there's nothing wrong with that. Because again, that
Mm-hmm.
can keep you in the game. That can keep you motivated. Fine. No harm, no foul. But at the point that you start losing focus on some of the other elements, okay, now we're not talking about fitness anymore. You got to have a look in the mirror and ask yourself if that's really the pursuit that you want to go all in on. That's
Yeah,
all.
100%. Yeah, that's all I've got on that. Anything else?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, don't lose sight
Okay.
of the big picture.
Yeah, man. So yeah, curious everybody out there. We covered 3 different topics today. And we covered grilling. So if you've got any questions
4 really.
or comments on any of those, find this video on the btwb YouTube channel. Post your thoughts and comments. Get an idea for an upcoming show. Let us know. You'll be able to see this on social media, the Very Not Random Instagram account. You can post thoughts and comments there publicly or send a direct message to that Instagram account. All those things make their way to us, and we appreciate you. For Adrian Bosman, I'm Pat Sherwood, and we will see you next time.